To you, the chosen one, have you ever felt the crushing weight of being set apart, walking a road so isolated, so misunderstood, that it feels like a punishment? They thought your silence was weakness. They thought your restraint was surrender. But what they failed to realize is this: you've been walking a path they were never meant to follow. This Christmas, it's time to stop explaining, stop defending, stop justifying your peace to people who thrive on your chaos. They've tried to draw you into battles that only serve their ego, traps designed to drain your energy. Not anymore. This season, you're staying silent, giving them nothing, and walking away when the truth reveals itself. Because silence is not absence. Silence is power. So, chosen one, I want to say thank you. Yes, you. Whether you're new here or have supported this journey through Super Thanks, your encouragement fuels this mission. If you're ready to walk away stronger than ever, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and share this with someone who's still wrestling with the noise of those who don't deserve their time. Drop a comment below with number 77 if you're ready to claim this season as yours. Picture this: a storm raging on the horizon, fierce and relentless. The winds howl, the skies darken, the rain pours. Everyone scrambles, screaming, caught in the chaos. But in the center of it all is a still, quiet eye, unbothered, unmoved, untouchable. That eye is you. The storm, that's them. Their words, their doubt, their endless noise. They think their chaos will pull you in, that their wind can tear you apart. What they don't realize is this: you've become untouchable. You are the calm they'll never understand, the silence that swallows their storm whole. You see, they thrive on your reactions, your every word, every glance, every ounce of attention you've given them in the past. It's been their fuel, keeping their fire alive. But what happens when you stop? When you refuse to engage, to feed the flames? Their storm rages on for a while, louder, more desperate. But eventually, it fades. It always does. Because chaos can't sustain itself without a target, and you, chosen one, are done being their target. Let them talk. Let them speculate. Let them twist themselves into knots, trying to figure out why you're no longer playing their game. They'll call it cowardice. They'll call it pride. But deep down, they know the truth. Your silence is a boundary they can't cross, a fortress they can't penetrate, a power they can't take from you, and it terrifies them. This Christmas, the greatest gift you can give yourself is the strength to walk away. No parting words, no explanations, no dramatic exits, just silence. Let them feel the void of your absence, the weight of everything they'll never hear from you again. It's not just about leaving, it's about reclaiming your energy, your peace, your power. Chosen one, they've always underestimated you, mistaking your quiet strength for submission. But the truth is that silence has always been your weapon. It's the space where you rebuild, recalibrate, and rise. This season, use it. Give them nothing, and watch as their noise collapses under the weight of your calm. The tables have turned, and the path is clear. Walk it boldly, silently, and without hesitation. This Christmas, let your silence do the talking, because it's the only language they'll truly understand. Number 1. What happens when you give them nothing? Silence isn't surrender. It's the ultimate form of control. When you give them nothing, they lose everything. So, chosen one, this Christmas, when they are expecting your reaction, your anger, your desperate need to defend yourself, give them nothing. When they wait for your words, for any sign that their barbs have pierced your armor, leave them with the deafening weight of silence. Let them sit in the void where your energy used to be. Let them wrestle with the reality that their power was never real. It was borrowed, and you've taken it back. Do you know what happens when you give them nothing? Everything they built on your reaction collapses. Their sense of control, their smug confidence, their belief that they could sway you, it all crumbles. They've been feeding off your energy, thriving on your engagement, and when you step back, it's like cutting the power to a machine that was already running on fumes. They're left scrambling, desperate to find a new source of fuel for their chaos. Look at the world's most influential figures. Think of Nelson Mandela, who endured 27 years of imprisonment without letting his captors strip him of his dignity. They wanted him to break, to lash out, to react in anger, but he gave them nothing. His silence was his power, his resilience was his voice, and his calm dismantled their authority brick by brick. When he finally walked free, it wasn't just a physical liberation. It was the ultimate proof that they had never truly controlled him. His silence had done more damage to them than any words ever could. Consider Princess Diana, who in the face of public scrutiny, betrayal, and endless speculation often chose silence. They threw headlines at her like weapons, expecting her to stumble, to give them more ammunition. Instead, she walked with grace, letting her actions speak louder than their words. Her silence wasn't submission, it was defiance wrapped in dignity. And in the end, it was their noise that imploded, leaving her as a symbol of strength and poise. This Christmas, they'll expect you to engage. They'll bait you with words, hoping to pull you into their web of chaos. Don't give them what they want. When someone throws a punch into the air, expecting resistance, all they feel is the weight of their own force. That's what your silence does. It leaves them grappling with their own words, their own anger, their own insecurities. Think of silence as the ultimate mirror. When you give them nothing, they're forced to see themselves clearly, without the distraction of your response. Every insult they throw echoes back at them. Every attempt to provoke you feels like shouting into an empty canyon. It's maddening for them, chosen one, because they've built their confidence on the illusion that they could control your emotions. Your silence shatters that illusion and leaves them alone with the truth of their own emptiness. Have you ever noticed how truly powerful people rarely shout? They rarely explain themselves or get drawn into petty debates. That's because power isn't loud, it's calm. It's knowing you don't need to prove anything to anyone. When Oprah Winfrey faced racism and setbacks early in her career, she could have reacted in anger, but instead she focused on her craft, her vision. Her silence in the face of adversity wasn't weakness. It was a declaration of her strength. She gave them nothing, and in doing so, she rose above every obstacle they placed in her way. This isn't about letting them win. Let them think they've won. Let them believe your silence is their victory. Because what happens next? They lose their grip. They realize your silence isn't submission, it's strategy. And by the time they figure it out, you're already too far ahead, too untouchable for them to catch you. They've been playing a game you no longer care about, and that's their real defeat. Chosen one, they've thrived on your engagement long enough. They've mistaken your reactions for their strength, your energy for their fuel. But this Christmas, you're giving them nothing. No explanations, no defenses, no validation. Your silence isn't just absence, it's a weapon. It's the loudest thing they'll never hear, the echo of their own failures reverberating in the space you leave behind. Let them sit in it. Let them feel the emptiness where your words used to be. Because in that silence is your power. It's the control they'll never understand and the strength they'll never match. And you? You'll walk away lighter, freer, and more untouchable than ever before. So this Christmas, chosen one, give them nothing and watch them lose everything. Number 2, wrap their regret in silence. Regret isn't loud, it whispers in the silence they can't escape. When you say nothing, their regret becomes deafening. Chosen one, this Christmas, let your silence wrap their regret like a perfectly tied bow, tight, inescapable, and heavy enough to crush their arrogance. You don't need to shout, argue, or explain. The weight of your silence will do what no words ever could. They've spent so much time casting stones, thinking their actions would never come back to haunt them. But this year, the tables have turned, and their reckoning is wrapped in the quiet they'll never be able to ignore. You see, people like them thrive on noise. They use chaos to drown out their insecurities, to mask the guilt they refuse to face. They rely on your engagement, your reactions, your justifications to keep the mirror from turning on them. But when you stop playing their game, when you step back and give them nothing but silence, the mirror doesn't just turn, it locks them in. Every sneer, every insult, every betrayal becomes a haunting echo that grows louder in the void you leave behind. Think about it. When someone wrongs you, their first defense is denial. They'll laugh it off, twist the narrative, or tell themselves you're overreacting. But when you stay silent, when you don't give them a single word to manipulate or distort, their defense crumbles. They're left alone with their actions, forced to replay every moment, every choice, every word they thought would break you. And in that replay, regret seeps in like poison, slowly, painfully, completely. Take Steve Jobs, for example. Early in his career, he was ousted from Apple, betrayed by the very people he helped elevate. He didn't waste time begging or defending himself. He stayed silent, focused, and let his work speak louder than their betrayal. Years later, those same people came crawling back, burdened by the regret of underestimating him. His silence wrapped their regret so tightly that it became inescapable, and in the end, he returned stronger, more powerful, and more respected than ever. Chosen one, your silence is a gift they'll never forget. It's not about revenge, it's about balance. When you stop trying to fix what they broke, when you refuse to engage in their chaos, they're left holding the full weight of their actions. And that weight, it doesn't go away, it grows. Every time they see you thriving, every time they hear your name, it tightens around them like a vice. This Christmas, let their regret be their gift. Wrap it in the silence they don't know how to handle. While they sit around their trees, trying to drown out the truth with hollow laughter and fake cheer, let them feel the heaviness of what they've done. You don't need to say a word. Your silence is enough to deliver the message. You didn't need them, you rose above them, and now they're left with nothing but the wreckage of their own choices. They'll try to shake it off, to pretend they're unbothered. But regret isn't something you can run from. It follows, it lingers, it grows. And in the quiet moments when no one else is watching, it'll wrap around them like a shadow they can't escape. So, chosen one, don't waste your breath trying to explain, argue, or justify. This Christmas, wrap their regret in silence and watch as it becomes the heaviest gift they'll ever carry. Number 3. Christmas lights expose their shadows. The brighter the light, the darker the shadows. And this Christmas, the truth they've tried to hide will stand exposed under the glow of what they can no longer ignore. Chosen one, this Christmas isn't just about the lights that decorate the world around you, it's about the light you've become. They've done everything to keep you dim, haven't they? Spoken against you in whispers, buried their envy in smiles, and cloaked their intentions in the dark corners of deceit. But here's the thing about darkness. It only takes one light to unravel it. And this year, your light is shining so brightly that their shadows are impossible to hide. They thought the season's glitter would distract, that the noise of the holidays would drown out the truth. But nothing reveals the cracks in a facade faster than the glow of something genuine. Those shadows they've been hiding in, their arrogance, their lies, their jealousy, they're all coming into view. Christmas lights don't just illuminate the beauty of the season, they expose everything in their path. And now, their shadows are standing stark against the brightness of your eyes. Think about it. Shadows only exist because something stands in the way of the light. Their doubt, their mockery, their manipulations. They were never about you. They were about their fear of what your light represents. The truth they tried to suppress, the strength they couldn't match, the clarity they never had. You've been their shadow all along, chosen one, not because you were beneath them, but because they've always depended on your light to define their darkness. Imagine standing under a canopy of Christmas lights, the kind that fills the night sky with warmth and brilliance. Beneath the glow, every imperfection is revealed. The twisted branches, the bare spots in the trees, the frayed cords. What they tried to hide in the dark is now undeniable. That's what your light does, chosen one. It doesn't just shine, it exposes. And this year, their shadows can't outrun the glow of your truth. Look at history. Think of people like Maya Angelou, whose light shone so brightly that it exposed the ugliness of racism and injustice in the hearts of her detractors. They tried to silence her, bury her words in the shadows, but her brilliance made their darkness visible to the world. Or Malala Yousafzai, whose unwavering light cast a blinding glow on the ignorance and hatred of those who tried to extinguish her voice. They couldn't hide in the shadows once her truth illuminated them. This Christmas, chosen one, let your light do the work. You don't have to call them out or waste your breath explaining what you already know. Stand tall, shine brighter, and watch as their shadows tremble under the weight of their exposure. Every doubt they cast, every insult they whispered, every lie they told, it all stands bare in the glow of your victory. The brighter you shine, the harder it is for them to pretend. Let their shadows twist and writhe. It's their reckoning, not yours. This Christmas, your light isn't just decoration, it's revelation. Shine on, chosen one, and let the truth illuminate everything they tried to hide. Number 4. Their mockery melts in your silence. Mockery is snow. It feels sharp and cold in the moment, but under the unrelenting warmth of silence, it melts into nothing. Their laughter rang loud, didn't it? Their smirks, their snide comments, their whispers in rooms you weren't even in. They thought their mockery could cut you, could shape how you saw yourself. But here's the truth, chosen one. Their words only had power when you gave them meaning. And now, this Christmas, their mockery stands no chance against your silence. Because silence is the warmth they can't withstand. They thrive on your reaction, on the way their words used to sting. Every sneer was a fishing line cast into your heart, waiting to reel in your anger, your pain, your need to defend yourself. But when you say nothing, when you refuse to flinch, their hooks come back empty. They're left holding the weight of their own pettiness, wondering why their usual tactics don't work anymore. Think of the greats, Muhammad Ali, who faced mockery for his faith, his race, his defiance of norms. They mocked him as a man, as a boxer, as a person who dared to think differently. But He didn't give them the satisfaction of stooping to their level. He let his fists speak, his victories roar, and his silence between bouts echo louder than their jeers. Ali didn't just fight opponents, he silenced critics. His refusal to engage in their petty games made their mockery look small, irrelevant, and powerless. And you, chosen one, you're doing the same. Let them laugh. Let them throw their cheap shots. Because while they're busy flinging words like snowballs in a futile attempt to hit you, the sun of your silence is rising, and when it shines, every ounce of their mockery will melt away, leaving only puddles of their own regret. Picture this, a bonfire crackling in the middle of a snowy field. There the snow, brief, biting, desperate to smother you. And you're the fire. You don't chase the snow. You don't plead with it to stop falling. You simply burn, steady and unyielding. The snow doesn't put out the fire. The fire makes the snow disappear. They mocked you because they needed to. They needed to feel taller, smarter, more important. Their laughter wasn't about you. It was about their insecurities, their need to feel powerful in the only way they knew how, by belittling someone stronger than they could ever be. But now, your silence denies them the validation they crave. It shines a light on the smallness of their words, the weakness behind their smirks. Do you see it yet? How their mockery fades when you don't react. They thought they could turn your silence into shame, but instead, it has become a shield they can't penetrate. Their jokes don't sting anymore because you've taken away the one thing they relied on, your attention. So let them laugh, chosen one. Let them snicker and sneer. While they waste their breath, you're conserving yours. While they throw snowballs, you're building bonfires. Their mockery melts in your silence because it was never strong enough to last in the face of your strength. And when the last laugh fades, when the last insult falls flat, you'll still be standing, silent, strong, and untouchable. Their mockery, it'll be nothing more than water under your feet. Number 5. Walking away under the Christmas star. The strongest step isn't the one toward confrontation. It's the one away from chaos, under a sky that only the bold dare to follow. Chosen one, there's a moment in every journey where you realize the battle is no longer worth fighting. The words, the noise, the endless chaos, it's all designed to keep you tethered to a cycle that was never yours to begin with. This Christmas, under the brilliance of the same star that once guided the wise to their destiny, it's your turn to walk away. No dramatic exits, no parting shots. Just you, stepping boldly into the light, leaving behind the shadows that can't follow. They don't expect it. They think you'll stay. They think you'll keep fighting, keep trying to prove your worth, keep explaining yourself to ears that were never listening. They've built their power on the assumption that you need to win their approval, that you're desperate for their validation. But here's the truth, chosen one. You don't need anything from them. Not their acknowledgement, not their understanding, and certainly not their permission to rise. Walking away isn't weakness. It's defiance. It's looking at everything they've thrown at you, the lies, the mockery, the manipulation, and saying, none of this can touch me anymore. It's stepping out of the darkness they created and into the light of your own clarity. And here's the beauty of it. While they scramble to hold on to their games, you're already gone, too far ahead for their chaos to reach you. Picture this, the Christmas star shining high above a still, silent world. The kind of light that cuts through even the deepest darkness, steady and unwavering. That's your path now. It doesn't wind back toward them. It leads forward, toward everything they tried to convince you you'd never have. And while they're left stumbling in the shadows, you're walking boldly, with purpose, under a sky lit with promise. Think of the greats who walked away and rose higher than anyone ever thought possible. Think of Serena Williams, who left toxic narratives behind and chose to define her own story. Think of Maya Angelou, who walked away from every attempt to silence her voice and became a beacon for millions. They didn't look back. They didn't argue with those who doubted them. They followed their light, their truth, and let the rest fall away. This Christmas, let them wonder. Let them speculate. Let them sit in the chaos they created while you walk away under a sky that only you were meant to follow. Because here's the secret they never understood. You were never fighting for their approval. You were never bound by their opinions. And now you're free. Chosen one, when you walk away this time, it won't be in anger. It won't be with bitterness. It will be with the quiet, unshakable strength of someone who knows their worth, their path, and their destiny. Let the star guide you. Let the silence of your exit speak louder than any words ever could. And don't look back, because nothing behind you is worth your time. Walk away, chosen one. The star is waiting, and so is everything they told you you'd never reach. Number 6. Decorate your tree with victory. Victory isn't quiet. It's the ornaments you hang for the world to see, each one glimmering with the battles you've fought and won. Chosen one, this Christmas, as you stand before the tree of your life, don't just decorate it with shallow baubles of what could have been. Adorn it with the hard-won victories that define who you are. Let every ornament tell the story of your resilience, your triumph, and the light that refused to be extinguished. They thought they buried you, didn't they? Mocked your journey, scoffed at your dreams, and waited for you to crumble under the weight of their judgment. But here you are, stronger than ever, and this tree. It's not just decoration. It's a testament to everything you've overcome. Each branch holds a piece of your journey, shimmering with the undeniable proof of your strength. Think of every ornament as a symbol of a victory they never expected you to claim. That glittering star at the top? That's the moment you realized their doubts were never your destiny. The golden bells that chime gently with the passing breeze. Those are the echoes of your laughter after rising above their petty attempts to bring you down. And the lights that shine so brightly they pierce through the darkest night. They're the evidence of the fire that burned within you when the world tried to snuff it out. Have you ever noticed how a well-decorated tree draws the attention of everyone in the room? That's your life now, chosen one. They can't look away. They'll see the ornaments of your victory, and it will haunt them. Because for every accomplishment hanging there, there's a memory of when they said you couldn't do it. For every light that shines, there's a shadow of their regret. Take a moment to think about the greats who have decorated their trees with undeniable victories. Think of Malala Yousafzai, whose ornaments shimmer with the bravery to stand against oppression and fight for education. Her tree towers above the noise of her doubters, a living monument to resilience and purpose. Think of Serena Williams, whose triumphs hang like trophies, defying every critic who said she didn't belong. Her tree shines so brightly that it casts a light on everyone who dares to follow in her footsteps. Your tree is no different. It's decorated not with empty platitudes or meaningless gestures, but with the fruits of your perseverance. Every ornament you hang this season is a reminder, to them and to yourself, that you didn't just survive, you thrived. You didn't just endure their doubt, you turned it into fuel. Let them see it, chosen one. Let them walk past your tree and feel the sting of their own failure to stop you, because the truth is, they'll never have a tree like yours. They spent too much time trying to cut you down while you were busy planting roots. And now, as your tree towers above their noise, decorated with every victory they tried to deny you, they're left in its shadow. So, this Christmas, don't hold back. Decorate your tree with every win, every milestone, every moment that defines the unstoppable force you've become. Let it shine brighter than their doubts, stronger than their mockery, and higher than their reach. This is your season, chosen one. Your tree is your story, and your victory is undeniable. Number 7. Your silence, their Christmas reckoning. Silence doesn't need to scream. It's the sound of reckoning when the guilty have nowhere to hide. Chosen one. This Christmas, your silence will be their reckoning. Not a loud declaration, not a heated confrontation. Just the quiet, unshakable truth that their words and actions no longer have power over you. They've spent so long building themselves up on the foundation of your reactions, thriving on the energy you unknowingly gave them. But this year the tables have turned. This year your silence will speak louder than anything they could ever say. You see, silence isn't just absence, it's a spotlight. It shines on everything they tried to hide behind their noise. The mocking laughter, the cruel comments, the endless attempts to provoke. They were nothing more than distractions, smoke and mirrors to cover their insecurities. Your silence removes that mask. It forces them to confront the ugly truth. Without your engagement, their words mean nothing. Think about the power of stillness. In a courtroom, after the gavel falls, silence fills the air. It's not peace, it's weight. It's the inescapable realization that judgment has been passed, and there's no undoing it. That's what your silence becomes, chosen one. The final gavel strike, the inarguable verdict. Every accusation, every insult, every sneer they threw your way now lies at their feet, unanswered and unimportant. Do you remember when Serena Williams faced years of criticism, racism and judgment from those who doubted her? She didn't waste her time responding to every insult. She didn't try to argue with those who belittled her. She let her silence speak on the court with every championship trophy and record-breaking moment. Her reckoning was their realization that their words had no power over her destiny. That's your silence, chosen one, a reckoning that forces them to see your worth, whether they want to or not. This Christmas they'll feel the weight of every word they spoke against you. The whispers, the doubts, the lies. They'll echo back to them in the silence you leave behind. They'll replay the moments when they laughed at your dreams, mocked your struggles, and underestimated your strength. And in your absence, they'll finally realize the truth. The power they thought they had was only ever borrowed, and you've taken it back. Let them wrestle with it. Let them sit in the discomfort of their own thoughts, the noise of their own minds. That's the beauty of silence. It doesn't just echo, it lingers. It forces them to face what they've done and who they've become. Your silence, chosen one, is not just a withdrawal, it's a mirror. And this Christmas, they'll see themselves clearly for the first time. Don't speak. Don't explain. Don't justify. Your silence is their Christmas reckoning, the undeniable proof that their actions no longer define you. And as you rise above, their noise will crumble under the weight of your quiet, unstoppable strength. Number 8. Christmas bells toll their downfall. Every bell that tolls is a reminder that no lie lasts forever, no arrogance goes unchallenged, and no mockery escapes its reckoning. Chosen one, This Christmas, as the bells ring in celebration, for some, they toll as a requiem, a solemn reminder that the games they played, the lies they told, and the arrogance they flaunted are crumbling under the weight of truth. They hear those bells differently than you do. For you, it's the sound of victory. For them, it's the sound of downfall. Every chime cuts through their illusions, exposing what they tried so hard to hide. The louder the bells ring, the harder it becomes for them to escape the truth they've been running from. Do you hear it? That sound doesn't just fill the air. It fills the spaces they once occupied with their judgments and sneers. Each toll reverberates with the consequences of their actions. They thought their words were weapons, their mockery an unbreakable shield. But the truth doesn't bow to their arrogance. The truth rings louder, cutting through every facade they've built. This Christmas, the bells don't just celebrate your rise. They mourn their failure to break you. Think about the arrogance of their actions, their belief that they could outwit fate, outlast karma, outplay the very universe. They built their castles on lies and expected them to stand forever. But now, as the bells toll, those castles are collapsing brick by brick. The echo of their downfall rings louder than their insults ever did. They thought they'd escaped the reckoning, but the sound is unavoidable, undeniable, and inescapable. History is full of these moments where the bells toll for those who believed they were untouchable. Julius Caesar, betrayed by those he trusted, heard his own reckoning in the whispers of his enemies before the inevitable came. Napoleon, blinded by his ambition, heard the tolling bells of Waterloo long before his empire fell. These were men who thought their power was absolute, only to find that the truth has a way of making itself heard, loud, clear, and unforgiving. And now, chosen one, the same truth tolls for those who doubted you, mocked you, and underestimated you. They wanted you to fail. They needed you to crumble under the weight of their doubts. But instead, you rose. And now, their downfall echoes in every victory you claim. Every accomplishment you achieve, every step you take forward is another toll of the bell, another reminder that they've lost the power they thought they had over you. Let them hear it. Let them feel the weight of every chime, every reverberation, every undeniable note. You don't need to say a word. The bells speak for you. They toll not for revenge, but for justice. A justice they never thought would come. They ring with the undeniable truth that you have won and they have lost. This Christmas, as the bells toll, let them ring louder than their mockery, stronger than their doubts, and more lasting than their arrogance. The sound will fade for you, leaving behind peace and triumph. But for them, it will echo in their minds, a haunting reminder that their downfall was inevitable and you were always destined to rise. Number 9. Snow falls. Silence buries their pride. Pride is loud, fragile, and fleeting, but silence is soft, steady, and unstoppable. Like snow, it falls quietly, and before they realize it, everything they once stood on is buried beneath its weight. Chosen one, there's a special kind of power in the quiet. The world doesn't expect it, can't prepare for it, and never knows how to respond to it. That's why your silence is so dangerous to them. This Christmas, as the snow falls, let your silence bury their pride. Let it smother the arrogance they once wore so proudly, until all that's left is the deafening realization that they've lost the battle they thought they'd won. Pride thrives on noise. It needs applause, validation, and constant reassurance. It shouts from rooftops, demands attention, and lives for the sound of its own echo. But silence? Silence starves pride. It seeps into the cracks, wraps itself around their insecurities, and freezes them in place. They thought they were invincible, untouchable, but your quiet has become the snowfall that's covering everything they thought they built. Think of a snowstorm. It doesn't roar or scream. It doesn't announce its arrival with a bang. It falls gently, layer by layer, and yet by the time it's done, entire cities are brought to a standstill. Roads are impassable. The landscape is unrecognizable. That's what your silence does to their pride. Every word you don't say, every reaction you withhold, every moment you choose not to engage, it's another snowflake falling onto the fragile foundation of their ego. And soon, that foundation is buried, suffocated under the quiet power of your indifference. They'll feel it, chosen one, the weight of it, the discomfort of realizing they no longer control the narrative, the panic of knowing their words have no effect on you. They'll scramble to dig themselves out, throwing every insult, every accusation, every desperate attempt to provoke you. But it won't matter, because silence, like snow, doesn't respond. It simply keeps falling. They'll call you cold, accuse you of being heartless, detached, unbothered. Let them. What they don't realize is that your silence isn't cruelty, it's clarity. You've chosen not to engage because their pride doesn't deserve your time, your energy, or your peace. They've built their arrogance on the false belief that they could provoke you, that your reaction was their proof of power. But now they see that your silence is their defeat. Look at history. Look at the quiet revolutions that changed the world. Mahatma Gandhi didn't meet violence with violence. He met it with silence and non-cooperation. And in that silence, entire empires crumbled. Snow doesn't need to roar to bury a mountain. It simply falls, unnoticed, until its presence is undeniable. This Christmas, let the snow fall. Let your silence blanket their pride, muffling the sound of their arrogance, drowning out their noise. You don't need to fight them, confront them, or prove anything to them. Your silence is enough. It's their reckoning and your redemption. And when they finally realize what's happened, when they see their pride buried beneath the snowfall of your strength, they'll know. You were always the storm they couldn't survive. Number 10. The gift of letting go. The heaviest chains are the ones you choose to carry. This Christmas, chosen one, it's time to set them down and walk away. The gift of letting go isn't for them, it's for you. They've taken enough from you, haven't they? Your time, your energy, your peace. They've latched onto your life like shadows, feeding off your light, dragging you into their chaos. They've left you questioning yourself, replaying their words, holding on to their actions as if they define you. But here's the truth. They don't. They never have. And this Christmas, it's time to stop carrying the weight of their failures, their betrayals, and their expectations. Letting go isn't weakness, chosen one. It's not giving up or giving in. It's freedom. It's refusing to let their poison run through your veins another second. They want you to hold on. They want you tangled in the webs they've spun, because as long as you're trapped, they remain in control. But when you let go, you're cutting every string, every chain they've tried to wrap around you. Think of it like a gift you've been clutching for far too long. It's beautifully wrapped, tied with the ribbon of promises, apologies, or hope that they'll change. You've carried it with you, even when it grew heavy, even when it cut into your hands. But when you finally open it, all that's inside is emptiness. No matter how you try to fill it, it's hollow. That's their gift to you. Nothing. And now it's time to hand it back. Let go of the idea that they'll suddenly see your worth. Let go of the hope that they'll apologize in a way that makes things right. Let go of the illusion that closure comes from them. Closure isn't given, it's claimed. Letting go doesn't mean you're erasing the past. It means you're no longer letting it define your future. Consider this. When Maya Angelou said, "When someone shows you who they are, believe them," she wasn't speaking in riddles. She meant that holding on to someone's potential, their what could have been, is a lie you tell yourself to justify the pain they've caused. Let go of the person they pretended to be and accept the truth of who they are. That truth is enough. It's all you need to walk away. Letting go isn't about them. It's about you. It's about reclaiming the space in your heart and mind they've occupied rent-free. It's about unwrapping the chains they've placed on your soul and realizing you were always the one holding the key. This Christmas, chosen one, give yourself the gift of letting go. Release the need for explanations, the weight of their judgment, and the hope of something that will never be. When you do, you'll feel the lightness you've been craving, the freedom that comes from finally walking away. And as you walk, you'll see something extraordinary. You'll see how small they truly were, how little power they actually had, and how much strength was in you all along. Letting go isn't just an act, it's a declaration. I will no longer carry what isn't mine. This Christmas, chosen one, unwrap the chains and let them fall. The gift of letting go is waiting. It's yours. Take it. Number 11. Stars shine, brighter in silence. Stars don't speak, they simply shine. The brighter the light, the quieter the universe becomes around them. Chosen one. Do you hear it? That deafening silence when your name rises above the noise? That's not coincidence. That's the weight of your brilliance. The truth is, stars shine brightest in silence. Not because they need recognition, but because their light is undeniable. This Christmas, while the world hums with chaos, and those who doubted you scramble for relevance, your silence is the stage, and your light is the show. You don't need to announce your arrival. They see you, and it burns them. They'll never admit it, but your silence is their greatest fear. They've spent so long trying to dim your light with words, with doubt, with noise. They mocked your dreams, dismissed your struggles, whispered about your failures. All the while they thought you were shrinking, but you weren't. You were growing, rising, becoming the star they could never reach. And now your silence blinds them. Every unspoken word, every moment you refuse to engage, is a beam of light cutting through their shadows. Think of the greats. Serena Williams never needed to argue with her doubters. Her racket spoke for her. Maya Angelou didn't need to shout her truth from rooftops. Her words moved nations in quiet power. They were stars who understood the truth. Silence isn't absence, it's presence. It's the stillness that commands respect, the calm that shakes the foundation of those who thrive on chaos. You, chosen one, are no different. Your silence speaks louder than their noise ever could. Do you know what terrifies them the most? It's not your anger, it's not your words. It's the fact that you've stopped giving them access to your energy. They relied on your reactions, your defenses, your explanations. But now, you've taken it all away. You've left them in the dark, searching for the light they can't generate themselves. That's the irony of stars. They don't need permission to shine. They don't need an audience. They just burn, bright and eternal, while others fade into obscurity. Imagine the night sky, the vast, endless expanse of black, dotted with stars that have burned for millennia. They don't compete. They don't explain why they're there. They don't justify their brilliance to the darkness. They simply exist, their light undeniable. That's you, chosen one. You are the star they ignored, the light they dismissed, the brilliance they underestimated. And now, as you shine in silence, they're left grappling with their inadequacy, their noise reduced to nothing but static. So this Christmas, let your silence do the talking. Let them stare, let them wonder, let them feel the heat of your rise without a single word leaving your lips. You don't owe them explanations. You don't owe them validation. Your light is enough. It's always been enough. Stars don't argue with the darkness, chosen one. They outshine it. This Christmas, let your silence speak louder than ever. Let your brilliance blind them. Shine and never look back. Number 12. The power of walking away. Walking away isn't weakness. It's the ultimate act of strength. It's not running. It's refusing to stay where you no longer belong. Chosen one, they've mistaken your loyalty for permanence. They've counted on your patience, your forgiveness, and your willingness to endure. They've assumed that no matter what they said, no matter how they treated you, you'd stay. But this Christmas, it's time to prove them wrong. It's time to walk away, not with anger, not with explanations, but with the quiet confidence of someone who knows their worth. Do you feel that shift in the air? That heavy silence just before everything changes? That's the moment you're in right now. They've pushed, pulled, and drained you for far too long. And while they've been so busy building themselves up at your expense, they never noticed what was happening. You were outgrowing them. You've been outgrowing the place they kept you in, the role they assigned you, and now the time has come to leave it all behind. Walking away doesn't mean giving up. It means rising above. It means understanding that some battles aren't worth fighting because you've already won by refusing to engage. Think of the most powerful figures in history: Martin Luther King Jr., Mahatma Gandhi, Rosa Parks. Their greatest victories weren't in shouting or retaliating. They were in knowing when to step back, to stand firm in their principles, and to move forward without carrying the weight of their oppressors. Walking away is strength, not surrender. Imagine a towering mountain. For years you've been climbing, carrying their doubts, their insults, their mockery like boulders on your back. And now, as you stand at the summit, you realize something. They were never climbing with you. They were sitting at the base, throwing rocks, hoping you'd stumble. But here's the truth they'll never admit. They can't go where you're going. They're not equipped for the heights you're meant to reach. And so, you walk, not down, not back, but forward, leaving them behind in the dust of their own smallness. They'll call it pride. They'll call it selfishness. They'll call it anything but what it is: liberation. Because the moment you walk away, they lose their hold on you. The strings they've tried to pull, the guilt they've tried to weave, the power they thought they had, it all evaporates the second you decide you're done. Walking away isn't just an act, it's a declaration. It says, I see you, I see your games, and I'm done playing. Chosen. 1. This Christmas, give yourself the gift of freedom. Walk away from the arguments that go in circles. Walk away from the people who thrive on your pain. Walk away from the places that make you feel small. Let them wonder why. Let them scramble to fill the void you leave behind. Because the truth is, your absence will speak louder than any words ever could. This isn't just walking away, it's walking toward peace, toward purpose, toward the life you were always meant to have. So, take the step, leave the noise, and don't look back. The power of walking away isn't in what you leave behind, it's in what you're walking toward. Thank you, chosen ones, for staying until the end of this powerful message. Your presence here means the world, and your growth inspires us all. Thank you for your incredible support and the super gifts that help keep this community thriving. Remember, silence is not just absence, it's power. If this message resonated with you, smash that like button, hit subscribe to join a movement of strength and purpose, and share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Drop "Silence is Power" in the comments below to declare your strength this Christmas. Until next time, stay powerful.